Okay, good morning everyone. Those of you here and those of you online, welcome. It's great to have you all. So let's go ahead and get started. We always start the same way, whether it's Ananda Yoga or spiritual counseling. We come into our center and set ourselves up for listening. The best way to do that is to straighten your spine. So let's sit at the edge of a block or a blanket and simply feel the spine straighten. A couple of things that will help you with it. One is allow your knees to relax towards the floor. Second, spread your shoulders wide and lift your heart. And third, keep the chin parallel to the floor as you lift your gaze. Now begin to watch your breath. And as you watch the breath, you will find it gradually deepening. And as the breath deepens, invites you to breathe deeper, begin to breathe a little more deeply, all the while keeping your spine straight. And now let's breathe in as deeply as possible. We'll do that for a count of 10. I'll keep count for you. Let's begin. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Feel your heart relax and the spine get longer as you hold your breath. And breathe out. Same 10 counts. We spend equal time inhaling, holding and exhaling. Once again, breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Last time, inhale. Inhale joy, vitality into the body. Hold your breath. Exhale. Pause for a few moments. Allow your diaphragm to relax. Breathe normally. We'll do the same kind of breathing, but we'll do something different with our mouth. This is called Sitkari Pranayama. So spread your mouth wide, okay, like a grotesque kind of grin this way, and just place the tip of your tongue against the back of the top teeth. So that will create an opening beneath the tongue for the air to go in. So we'll breathe in through that opening. Same 10, 10 and 10. Inhale. You'll see as you do that, it's very cool. Feel that coolness in the throat. That should be 10 counts. Hold your breath. Close your mouth. Hold your breath. And if you visualize, you'll feel that coolness rising up to the brain. Keeping your mouth closed, exhale softly, almost unnoticed. The breath spreads throughout the body. It's profoundly relaxing for the body and mind. 2 more rounds like that. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Work with that cooling sensation. There is more to it than just condensation. It's a very deep feeling for the nervous system. Breathe out when ready. Last time. Return to normal breathing for a few moments. When you feel ready, slowly open your eyes. Good morning, everybody. Once again, welcome. Great to have you all here. So we'll continue the same thing that we did last week, but many of you were from last week were here. So one of the things that ancient yogis discovered is we are healthy when the energy in the body flows freely. Flows freely obviously means without getting blocked. And what is it that causes blockages of energy? Well, many things. That's anything from negative emotion to too much activity to not sleeping. Any of those can cause it. But that's not the point. The question is, how do you unblock the energy? It doesn't matter how you got here, how do you get out of it? There is an interesting answer to that. How you unblock the energy really is by stretching your hips and shoulders, the two regions of the body where when you stretch it and when you strengthen it, your energy gets unblocked. This is one of the reasons why yoga feels good, primarily, because as you stretch this part and this part, energy moves through the spine and all kinds of good things begin to happen. So that's all today's class is. We'll stretch hips, we'll stretch shoulders, but more importantly, we'll begin to notice, it's called Swadhyaya, we'll begin to understand what it does to the mind. Okay, so I'll point this out as we go along. Let's begin with a few warm-ups. I don't know about you, I definitely need warming up, it's cold. Lie down on your back. The happy baby pose. Some people call this the dead bug pose, which I don't particularly like. So let's stick with happy baby. So bend your knees and then reach up and hold either the inside of your feet, or some of you may be able to hold the outside of the feet, doesn't really matter. And then allow the groin area to relax, keep the back of the neck long, chest open, breathe deeply. Gradually, you're not really pushing, but gradually you'll feel your knees get closer and closer to your ribs. Just a few more breaths. Give it time to open. And slowly release, come up on your hands and knees. Next thing we warm up is to connect the spine and the breath. So on your hands and knees, first inhale deeply. Now as you exhale, begin to curl your tailbone and slightly round your low back, push up through the back of the heart and relax your head. And as you inhale, lift your sit bones, arch your back, open through the chest and slightly lift the head. Continue at the pace of your breath. Don't do this in slow motion. You're actually doing it for only as long as you're able to inhale or exhale. This is my speed. This is how long my inhalations and exhalations are. Wait a few more times. You really shouldn't do it in slow motion. If I'm repeating it, it means somebody is doing it. Don't hold your breath. Really move at the pace of your breath. It's fairly rapid. So a few more times. And come back to center. Walk your hands forward, until your arms are sloping in front of you. Spread your feet wide enough so that they are hip width apart. We are still warming up. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees off the floor. Pause here. Press into your hands. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your belly towards the thigh. Really keep the spine long. Relax your neck. Now bend your right knee a little more and straighten the left knee completely. And change sides. Left knee a little more, straighten the right knee completely. Continue changing sides. Some people call this walking the dog. It's kind of an interesting way of looking at it. Maybe you can walk your dog a little faster. Okay, that's enough fun. Now let's stop walking the dog, downward facing dog. Hold this for a few breaths. And then keep your spine very long as you walk your feet closer and be closer to your hands. Be careful if you have back issues. And inhale to slowly come up. Face forward. We are still warming up. Come off your mat. Step your left leg back. Inhale the right arm up. And stretch up. This is a very simple stretch. Really stretch. And take it a little back. And change sides. Sometimes people who know too much yoga tend to make everything more complicated. This is actually super simple. All you do is stretch. There's nothing else going on here. Change sides. And slowly release and stretch. Warm up the shoulders. Circle of joy. Whenever you want to stretch the shoulders, this is the first key to yoga is you have to press down with your feet. They always go together. So press down with your feet, clasp your hands, breathe in, breathe out, inhale up. See, if you press down with your feet, you can really lift your arms up. Drop the shoulders, exhale, smiling, straighten the elbows, lift them up. Now pause here. This is not about lifting the arms, but it's about spreading the shoulders. So see if you can move these two far apart. And see that way. Then the arms will come up automatically. And if you smile, the whole thing works much better. And exhale, inhale, out, in. Really spread the shoulders. And out, in. One more time. And back to center. Okay. Now this is all warm-ups. Now come the first of our yoga poses. This is a reference pose. There's really not much going on. Tadasana. Look down. Make sure that your feet are fist width apart. In Tadasana, we learn how to strengthen the legs, strengthen the belly, but keep the buttocks and the shoulders relatively relaxed. Okay, that's the key to the pose. So first, everybody strengthen the legs. Make it really strong. Then unclench your buttocks. Strengthen the belly. You do that on an exhaling breath. So let's inhale. And as you begin a deep exhalation, you can feel your hips come forward like that. Now if you inhale, you can stretch your shoulders and simply relax the arms. That's Tadasana. Don't squeeze your shoulder blades, so you're not standing like this. You're simply letting it all relax. Lift your gaze. Breathe so deep that your rib cage will move to the side. As you do that, you'll feel all your being concentrate in your spine. Say to yourself, I stand ready to obey thy least command. Your spine should feel like this in almost every pose that we do while standing up. Okay? Now release this kind of attentive pose, let's begin to open the hips. The best pose to open the hips is Trikonasana, triangle pose. So take a block, place it behind the left heel, spread your feet approximately, if you're my height, around 3.5 or almost 4 feet. If you're a little taller, a few more inches wider. Strengthen your legs. Again, make your legs really strong, especially this part. See if you can kind of squeeze that up. Very good. Now let's turn the left foot out 90 degrees. Oh, no, we need to do that again. So watch me carefully. My chest is not turning at all. Only so we are not turning like this. Be careful. Place your hand on your heart without that moving. Strengthen both legs. Carefully turn the left foot. Good. Now your heart can move as you lift your right heel and turn just a little bit, about 30 degrees. Very good. Strengthen the legs now. Now you're ready to stretch the hip. Place your hand at the hip, left hand, right hand at the waist. Kind of pull the left hand down so that you begin to tip. Now use the weight of your left arm to tip some more. Don't bend this knee. A micro bend is okay. Reach out. Inhale. Exhale. Just release that arm down. Wherever it comes down is fine. If you need a block, place it on the block. Then twist your heart to face forward. Inhale the other arm up. If you are able, turn to look up. Okay. Stay there. Now as you lengthen your spine, the crown of your head is moving away to the left. As you lengthen the spine, feel the strength in your legs, feel the vitality throughout your body. Energy and joy flood my body cells. Joy descends to me. One more breath. Now, before you come out of the pose, don't come out of the pose yet. Really strengthen the right leg. Make it as strong as you can. And now when you inhale, you'll simply float up. That's what we want. Turn your feet to face forward. Arms down. Stay there. Become still. Walk your feet closer just by a little bit, because they would have moved far apart the way we got into the pose. Strengthen the legs, right foot out. Once again, remember, we are not turning. Right foot out. Now we are turning. Left heel out. Strengthen the legs, hip, waist, inhale. Exhale. Think about the crown of the head reaching away. Forgive me, I hope you did this. And exhale, come into the full pose. The affirmation, energy and joy flood my body cells. To feel that energy, to feel that joy, your legs need to work. The mind doesn't feel anything unless the body is putting out effort. Which leg? Especially the left leg. Work the left leg. Don't be conflicted about it. And then lengthen the crown of the head. And suddenly you'll feel that sensation. Energy and joy flood my body cells. Now strengthening the left leg, and you inhale, you will simply float up. Exhale, step back into Tadasana. As the hip stretches more, just feel how much lighter your mind is. Come back into your spine. Now let's try another kind of hip stretch. This is called Muktasana, freedom pose. It might not look like a big deal, but it actually is, and it's hard to get it right. So your feet are about fist width apart, or a little more, that's fine. And then let's take the foot back as if you are on a rail, the two sets of train tracks. So you're taking it straight back. It's harder than it looks. The tendency is to go this way. We try not to do that as much as you can. And if you need to, you can turn your toes out just a little bit. Now bend the front knee. Everybody bend the front knee. Put a little more weight on the front leg for now, and then begin to transfer the weight to the back leg. Strengthen the buttocks and lift the heart, hands in front of the heart. By the side, bend the elbows, lift up. Now all we do is press into the back heel. Don't lift the chin, but lift the heart like this. The more you kind of come forward and lift the heart, the more you're doing the pose. Now as you do the pose, slightly lower your gaze and watch me. We don't want to do the pose by going backward, so this is not the pose. So you're still forward and you're kind of lifting like this. I am free, I am free. Really, all the your consciousness is right here. Very good. Inhale and float the back leg forward. Exhale. Pause. I hope you felt that really sense of bringing the heart forward. Let's try that on the other side. So alignment is important. Make sure that you're not really turned out like this. You're as much as possible facing forward. Bend your knee. Don't bend it beyond the ankle. Now kind of equalize your weight. You're ready to lift the heart. Inhaling. Simply lift the heart. Up first and then slightly back. I am free. I am free. Your gaze is lifted, but your chin is not. How about you try a 5-count inhalation for this? I'll give you a 5-count. Try. So try and keep a little bit of a deeper breath. You will get a lot out of this pose. Don't take your hand behind your head. It's really right on top of your head. Very good. Inhale. Exhale. I am free. I am free. Now it's a bit of a gentler hip stretch. Now let's do a deeper one. This is basically the same pose, except our feet are spread across about a foot wider. So same 3.5 to 4 feet wide. This is Veerabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Left foot out 90 degrees. This time we turn the body, lift your right heel, pivot entirely to the left. Now really energize the tops of your thighs as if you're squeezing something there. Then strengthen the back leg, bend the front knee deeply, straighten the back knee fully. Inhale the arms up, exhale the shoulders down. Same thing that you did before. Bring the heart forward first and then up. Imagine your fingers like antennae from that draw the energy from the heavens into your body. I attune my will to the source of all power. Now try, if you can, to straighten the elbow while relaxing the fingers. Then your heart will lift up a little more. Good. Press into the front heel. Inhale to float your body up. Pivot forward. Exhale the arms down. Very good. And pause. Now the other side, right foot out, lift the left heel, pivot entirely to the right, strengthen the left leg, bend the right knee deeply down but not beyond the ankle, lift the arms up, relax the shoulders, straighten the elbows, relax the fingers, lift the heart up and then back. 5 count breath again. I attune my will to the source of all power. Inhale, exhale, pause, step back into Tadasana. It is the beauty of opening your hips. That's physically, that's all we are doing. We are literally stretching the hips, and notice what a difference it makes to the mind. Your hips are tight, my hips are tight because the hips sometimes are not very strong. So this next pose, we strengthen the hips. Utkatasana, chair pose. You'll need a block for this. It's a very deep bend in the knee. So be very careful if you have knee issues. You can stop halfway. I'll tell you where the halfway point is. It's useful if you spread your feet a little wider. If you are an advanced yogi, you don't need to. Come up on your toes. Inhale to lift your arms up. Hold your breath. Bend the knees slightly. Now, we need to strengthen the hips like we did in Tadasana. Use your belly. Inhale. Exhale. That will energize the belly. Then bring the hips forward like this. Good. Now, this could be your pose. But if your knees are okay, then you can come into the full squat, breathe in, breathe out. This is when, if you need the block, it's kind of useful. Now everybody, as you stay here, imagine your tailbone and think about bringing the tailbone forward slightly like this. Okay? Then you'll feel a new kind of strength. Your toes are like springs, kind of lifting you up. So say to yourself, my body is no burden, it's light as air. You have to work with that tailbone so that your back is not arched, so you're not like this. You're really kind of a nice aligned low back. Now, let's put the block aside, come up, exhale, and if you had taken your feet a little wider, bring them back a little closer. My body is no burden, it is light as air. We'll do another hip stretch which doesn't require so much effort from the body, but it's rather learning to surrender. We stretch the way we are supposed to, meaning allow the body to stretch. It's a very deep and powerful pose called Prasarita Padottanasana. Wide stance, forward bend. Remember, all the action really is in this area. We are still working on the hips. Spread your feet very wide. Be careful if you have balance issues because you could feel a little wobbly in this pose. Now, strengthen the legs. Remember, hip stretch means strong legs. There's no hip stretch without strong legs. Place your hands right at the hip, right at that notch, not the waist, here. And then, that's what's going to fold. Inhale. And as you exhale, kind of take your bum back and the crown of the head forward. Your hands are on your thighs, like that. Pause at the midpoint, give it a breath or two, and relax your mind. Stop thinking about your tasks, just you have completely free. There are no mental burdens. And then see if you can fold a little bit more. Spine is still straight, so you're not rounded. The spine is still as long as it can be. Now, if you have back issues, you can stay right here or reach your hand to the floor and stay there. But if your back is okay, then reach your arms by the side and begin to relax the top of the head towards the floor, like that. And if your hands touch the floor, place it there. If your hands touch the toe, hold your toe. If not, just place them to the side. Any of those is fine. And simply relax your head towards the floor. Keep your shoulders away from the ears. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. Work the legs. Very good. Fully relax the brain, the mind, but work the legs. It's an interesting feeling when you put those two together. Okay, now let's slowly come out of the pose. I'll give you instructions to do that. First, place your hands on your thighs and lift your head slightly. Then lift your heart as you come to about 90 degrees. And then inhaling, come all the way up. Carefully bring your feet closer in Tadasana. I relax and cast aside all mental burdens. See, can you feel the silence? So this is what happens. All we did was stretch the hips. Really, we didn't do anything else. Now let's sit. If you're able, you can sit on your heels. This is Vajrasana. If your knees don't allow this, you can sit in any cross-legged pose. You can also sit on a block if you wish. Let's be still for about 30 seconds. Focus on your belly button. In stillness, I touch my inner strength. Try not to move. Slowly opening your eyes. We'll do a combination hip and shoulder stretch. Now, this is one of the deeper poses of yoga, not physically deep, but there's a lot going on. This is called Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Be again careful if you have knee issues. If you feel a twinge on the inside of the knee, then it's time to dial it back, okay? Sit with the bottoms of your feet fully together, like this. And then, with your hands, reach under the legs, clasp your hands. So this is, I don't know how to show this. See, this is what you're doing, okay? So once you create that binding, now you can lift your shoulders. That's baddha. Baddha means bound. This is what is bound here. Okay? Really work that a little bit. Work that bind a little bit so that you can get that nice lift going. Now let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. This beneath the collarbone, that part should be lifting. So it's really, you can't do the pose like this. It really has to be up like this. Very good, very good, very good. Say to yourself, secure in myself, I accept whatever is, including how I'm doing the pose. Just really accept all of that. There are various ways of doing the pose. I'm teaching you a little harder, more advanced variation. Now this next part, so don't worry about the knees touching the floor. It may happen, may not happen. In fact, usually it doesn't in this particular version. We'll think about lifting the heart and folding forward just a little bit, keeping the shoulders open. Now you can release the bind of your hands, open your feet like a book. Then when you do, your knees will get closer to the floor and you can simply relax your upper body. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Breathe deeply. You should feel, when you breathe deeply here, it really opens your shoulders. You should feel your kidneys beneath the shoulder blades just opening. Very good. Now take a full inhalation and a full exhalation. When you exhale, you'll feel your belly working. Use that belly to next inhale and come up. Lift from the heart. And carefully lift your knees. Then release your lock. Sit cross-legged. Just for a few breaths. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. As the hips open, we feel lighter. As the shoulders open, we feel happier. Okay, so that's the next few 10-15 minutes of the class is working towards being happier by opening the shoulders. Let's start with Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Now, as you lie down here, everybody touch the two, the starting point of your shoulder, the upper part of your arms. Just touch it. Those two are going to move apart. In every pose we do, they're going to spread apart. Okay, so keep that in mind. Your forehead is on the floor. Mine is lifted because I want to see what you guys are doing. And slide your hands along your sides until your hands are next to your chest. So not underneath the shoulders. So your elbows are lifted. And tuck your elbows into the body. Draw the elbows away from the ears. Now when you want to work the shoulders, you should work your buttocks. So strengthen your buttocks. Now spread the shoulders wide. And without using your hands, inhale and lift the chest off the floor. You're not really using your hands. A little bit is okay. Just mostly with intrinsic strength, lift the chest off the floor. Spread the shoulders wide. Keep the neck long. Breathe into your belly. The more you work your buttocks, the deeper the pose is. Now we are halfway through. Slightly press into your hands and lift the heart as high as you can, bringing the elbows towards each other, but separating the shoulders away from each other. Smile inwardly, smile outwardly. I rise joyfully to meet each new opportunity. Inhale. Exhale, lengthen your forehead forward, lay it down on the floor. You can lift your head a little and place your palms underneath. You don't have to do that. Just feel the energy rush to the brain from your lower spine. Now let's come on our hands and knees. Still opening the shoulders. Remember, we are separating these two parts here, just moving them away. This is Ustrasana, camel pose. We use gravity to do that now. Bring the hands around the curve of your buttocks, like this. Keep them as close as you can instead of far away. This will separate the shoulders more. And from there, work your buttocks until your hips come forward, like this. Really work the buttocks. Then your heart will easily lift. We practice this in many poses. Lift the heart, lift the heart. Everybody look at me for a moment as you're lifting the heart. We don't really want to lift like this. Keep this right here, just lift the heart. Then you can take the neck a little bit, but lift the heart first. And then, if you keep doing that over 2 or 3 breaths, for some of you, your hand will simply reach the heel. If so, let it touch the heel. If not, keep it around the buttocks. If it touches the heel, you can relax the head back and stay in the pose for a few breaths. With calm faith, I open to thy light. Your hips are coming forward. Don't take them back, just to touch the heel. Very good. Now inhale to lift the heart. Lift the heart. Lead with the heart. Come up. Pause for a moment. And as you exhale, take a long exhalation. Lie down on your back. With your knees bent, pause briefly. We'll stretch the low back in a moment. If it feels like stretching, you can just hug your knees to your chest briefly. We'll continue opening the shoulders. Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. If your neck doesn't feel comfortable as you get into the pose, then don't do it. Do cobra pose instead. With your feet are hip width apart, feet are parallel to the floor, knees are bent enough that your heels are around 5 inches away from the buttocks. Now dig your heels into the floor, slightly lift your bum off the floor, clasp your hands underneath your buttocks, now roll your shoulders one by one. Roll your shoulders underneath, press the forearms towards the floor, and digging your heels, lift your hips as high as you can. Breathe in and out deeply. Allow the shoulders to stretch. Now, as you are there in the pose, inside your mind, imagine the pose is being done through you. I offer my every thought as a bridge to divine grace. Feel the devotion of your heart physically approach closer to the light in your forehead. You have to dig the heels. Good. Inhale. As you exhale, slowly lay your spine down one vertebra at a time. Pause, unmoving. I offer my every thought as a bridge to divine grace. Hug your knees into your chest. On an exhaling breath, press your low back into the floor. You can lift your head and rock from side to side if you wish. You don't have to. Very slowly release your knees down. Not knees, forgive me, your feet. Straighten your legs. Lift your right arm up and behind your head. Turn around to the right and come on your hands and knees. Notice as you have stretched the shoulders, there is this sense of calmness, a calm joy that's settling over you. Now we bring it together to strengthen the shoulders. We'll build up to a fairly difficult pose called Vashishthasana. So look at me for a moment. We'll do this in 3 stages. First, we'll simply lift one knee up like this. Second, we are going to straighten the back leg. And third, if you're able, we're going to straighten the front leg. Okay, so we'll do that step by step. You can stop at whatever step is right for you. We'll begin with the left arm. Weight is on the left arm. So come on your hands and knees, and then put your weight on the left arm and turn to the opposite side as the right knee bends and your right arm lifts. Okay. Now the part of your body weight is on your arm now. Now here, to do the pose, you need to curl your tailbone. You really need to work this part of the body. Really curl the tailbone forward. Then see if you can straighten the back leg. Then see if you can straighten the front leg. If not, keep one of the knees bent, because the final pose is a little tricky. Hold whatever pose it is for 3 more breaths. Really push down with the arm as you lift up. Very good. Now slowly you can release both hands back on the floor on an exhaling breath and bend your knees and pause there. Just rest. These poses are done with concentration. So tune into this affirmation as you really focus on your body. The calm power of my concentration burns away all restlessness, all distraction. So with that concentration, press into both arms, activate your shoulders. Now your weight is on your right arm. Bend your left knee, lift your right arm up, left arm up. Really work the shoulders. And then see if you can straighten the right leg. And then the left. You can keep that top foot a little forward just to make it a little easier, or some of you may be able to keep one foot on top of the other. Calm power of my concentration burns away all restlessness, all distraction. Just 2 more breaths. Inhale deeply, and as you slowly bend the top leg, bring the top arm to the floor, and then bend both knees. Come on your hands and knees. Pause. Spread your knees a little wider and bring your buttocks towards your heels. If you are able, press the buttocks into the heels. If you have knee issues, this won't work. Instead, sit cross-legged and bring your head towards the floor. And walk your arms forward and laying the forearms on the floor. Just lay the forehead on the floor. You're stretching your shoulders to complement how you use them. Then after a few breaths, you can bring your arms by the side, fingers pointing back, to really stretch your low back. I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. Your forehead is on the floor. Breathe deeply. If you feel a cramp in your stomach, then just come up. It will go away in a few breaths. Your hands are underneath the shoulders now, and inhale to lift your head, lift your heart, come up. Examine your body, how it feels with the hips and the shoulders, both having stretched deeply. Now let's do one final pose. This is an inversion where the head comes below the heart. This is not really a hip or a shoulder stretch, but this is very yogic. It draws your energy inward and upward. Tuck your shirt. We're going to do half headstand. Those of you that know the full headstand, you wish to do it against the wall, you can go ahead and do your headstand practice now. Just find a wall. Be careful. I'll neither monitor you nor instruct you, so don't want anybody falling down. And half headstand. You have to do it to the side so that everything's on the mat. I'm going to show it in the front so you can take a look at what's going on. Place your forearms on the floor. Hold the opposite elbow like this. And from this point on, your elbows don't move. Then release the elbow, clasp your hands in front of you. Press the center of the forearm to activate your shoulders. Bring your hips forward. Tuck your chin and place the very top of the head on the floor. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees off the floor. If there is any weight on your neck, then come back. Then draw the shoulders once more away from your ears and repeat. If there is no weight on your head, then walk your feet a little closer. Keep walking your feet as close as you can and just hold that pose. I am He, blissful spirit, I am He. Now very carefully release your knees to the floor and stay there with your bum lifted up for a few breaths, breathing deeply. Headstand, you should always breathe deeply. Then carefully sit up, please. Any position is fine. Clasp your hands behind you and fold forward just to stretch the shoulders. Then release, come up. Let's prepare for Shavasana, corpse pose. As you prepare for it, notice the changes, not just in your body. Your body, of course, hopefully feels lighter, stronger, and so on. But notice how your mind has changed. All we did was stretch the hips and the shoulders. No more. Lie down on your back and make sure you're fully comfortable. Some things that might help you be more comfortable is to place a blanket under your head, or bend your knees, or place a blanket under your knees. Any of those is fine. Relax your whole body. Just very quickly. You can go up from your feet all the way to your head. Check for any tensions and relax all of them. And then go beyond your body. Lift your gaze to the point between the eyebrows. And as you hold your gaze at that point, forget the body, forget the breath. Enter into deep relaxation. Let's be still. Very slowly, deepen your breath. Bend your knees and lie on your right side. Press into your hands, and as you inhale, sit up, please. Notice this inner silence, this inner state of listening. That's what it feels like when the energy is unblocked and coming towards the spine. Let's now end our class on the waves of 3 ohms. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Amen. Thank you, everyone. It's great to have you here. For those of you taking spiritual counseling, just make your way back. Sita is there to escort you so that you don't stray. And
also please stay online for spiritual counseling. It'll be in the same room.
Yeah, those of you online, this will be your room for spiritual counseling as well. So thank you, and have a wonderful weekend, and see you all next week.